Hey friends, today is the last episode of my series on the Yamas, or the ethical code that we follow as yoga practitioners. And today is all about Aparigraha, which is non-possessiveness. And when I reflect on this Yama, at least in our practice, on our mat, I think of how sometimes we can show up with certain expectations for ourselves. So if we have a certain pose that we've been practicing a long time and we show up and for some reason we can't practice that pose, that there's that sense of possessiveness with that posture. I know for me, quite a few years ago now, I broke my wrist and I had surgery and had my arm in a sling, and it was so interesting because there were so many postures that I'd been able to do for many, many years, almost 2 decades, and I couldn't practice them. Even the most simple postures were inaccessible. So I really had to look at ways of adapting my practice and to really suit what I needed in that moment, rather than the expectations that I was holding myself and the feelings of possessiveness over the posture outcome. So when we take this to our life off of our mat, something that we might consider is the possessiveness that we feel when it comes to tangible things. Like, I know for myself, with like clothing or certain goods that we have, or certain things that we attach ourselves to or that we have an attachment to, sometimes they're hard to get rid of and we feel a sense of possessiveness towards them. For anyone who's ever cleaned out their closet and they're thinking about getting rid of something that they love but they haven't worn in forever, you might definitely feel that sense of possessiveness with certain items. So I know for myself, when I do these closet cleanouts or when I start to get rid of certain things that I might no longer need, I ask myself, like, how much joy does this bring into my life? How often do I use this item or wear this item, or however that shows up in your life? Do I really need this, or can I let it go? Can I let go of this possessive nature? One last little piece of knowledge with this is regarding money. I think sometimes we can get so possessive financially. I know for me, my journey to feeling abundant has been a long one. I remember as a teenager when I was saving up money, when I had these part-time jobs, it was really, really hard not to be possessive when I was trying to reach a goal, when I was trying to pay for school or trying to get my first car or anything like that. I found it really, really hard and almost like hoarding this money rather than feeling like I could spend freely without that sense of lack. And for me, my transition to a more abundant place has been in seeing this fluidity financially and knowing that it's okay to spend on certain things. For instance, like, I love doing trainings with really wonderful teachers. So I have invested financially in these trainings, in these experiences, in my yoga practice. And for me, that has brought me so much joy and fulfillment. And there was a time when, before I became a yoga teacher, when I had to get over that hurdle of, oh, can I afford this? Can I make this happen? And when I started to realize and shift this mindset, miracles were created for me, and it felt like there was more money flowing to me than there ever had been before. I also experienced this in terms of charitable donations. Sometimes there's this hesitancy to give away, especially if you're coming from a place of less financial stability. If you work multiple jobs, if you work in the service industry, if you're in all these types of circumstances where financially it's a little less stable, it might be hard to give. But what I've noticed, at least personally, is the more that I give, the more that I receive opportunities back, that the universe is rewarding me for that. And I know that the universe does reward all when we shift that mindset and come from that place of abundance and release that sense of possessiveness. So when we practice Aparigraha, when we practice non-possessiveness, that energy comes back to us in a very positive way. So I hope you enjoyed this last episode on the Yamas, on Aparigraha. If you have any comments, if you have any realizations, I'd love to hear from you. So please leave it down below. Take care.